When I heard the music for the first time, it made me think about how special it was, how different it is. There wasn't anything else like this. And just how rich it was with like story and people and like life. Like it just had such a life to it. So it was like immediately inspiring. And it's funny, one of our first meetings I had on the film was with the music department, and Alex was there and Bill and Lin wasn't even there. I think he was working on something, and they were like, and just let us know if you feel any kind of changes, you want to add anything. And I was kind of like, it's pretty good the way it is, to be honest. It's pretty inspiring. And I think as a whole, everybody wanted to leave it, as kind of, original as we could. And I think we did a pretty good job. There's not that much change. A little bit here and there. Lyrically, things had to shift a little bit to make sense for the story. But it's pretty brilliant. When you're starting off conceptualizing a number and like breaking it down and like planning it out, mapping it out, to find that emotional connection to it, you really just, I don't know, for me, especially in this case, the music really drives that. I mean, it's written in it. It's screaming for it. The creators of this musical knew what they were doing, and they gave us all the pieces of the puzzle to just follow. So it really became, I think the movement always became secondary to that. It's not, and so you got to look at it from that way. If you step back and you look at what you're doing and you're like, I feel like we're just doing that move for no reason. Like there's no reason for that. We often revisit it and then like look at it and try something else. And then we're like, that makes me feel what the music makes me feel. That's like a connection there. We're connecting the movement and choreography to the music that's already in place. So I don't know, man, we just really let it drive us, and these actors and the stories that they were telling us. My relationship with Jon is, it's amazing for a process like this, because I would say the word that comes to my mind is trust. I think knowing that he trusts me to create and to put something in front of him, and then I trust every change he wants to make. Every time I create something, it's hard when you, as a choreographer, you get this song and you have this vision and you want to like create something to it, and then somebody's there telling you like, actually, it should be like this. And you're like, oh, and sometimes it's even hard to put their words into the bodies of other human beings anyways, because it's like you're telling me what you want, and I have a bunch of humans and I have to like manipulate them into a thing. It's like, it's so tricky. It's such a tricky process. But with Jon, I just trust that he knows what he wants and that he's gonna shoot it right. I think too, the balance that I have with Jon is great, because I'll create something and then I'll film it and I'll send it to him. But I'll film it in a way, every once in a while I'll put like my own little shot on it. And, but I know at the end of the day, Jon's gonna find his perspective on it, and he's gonna shoot it right. When we were younger, he taught me very valuable lessons through film. So I was just about dance, and then he kind of educated me on what looks good through the lens. I think that was very important. So when your director is your mentor and one of your film teachers, it becomes an easy process. That was probably the most difficult one, as just purely dance goes. Water is just a hard element in the pool. I have a new respect for synchronized swimmers, because we didn't want to use them for this. We wanted to feel different. But when you watch, Busby Berkeley's classic, routine in the water, they're synchronized swimmers, and it's incredible. So you come in, you want to pay homage, so you want to be in that world, and you're like, oh, we don't know how to do that. So then you start finding your own version of movement in water, and that was probably the most challenging part. We spent a lot of time in the pool. They rented us a little, like somebody's apartment, like downstairs, and there's like a tiny little pool, and just the difference between 2 feet of water versus a foot of water, and then 3 feet of water. I mean, it was night and day. So it was a lot of experimenting with people that had no idea what they were really doing. But I think we ended up finding something really, really fun, and familiar, but with a fresh feel. Hope Busby would be proud. Carnival was one of the biggest moments for me in this film. I think that was when everything really hit, like what we're doing here. You know, it's just so, it's that moment of empowerment that I think we were all finding. And when we talk about pace, like that's what we were pacing ourselves up to, was this moment of the community being represented and having this voice and being loud for the world to hear them. I mean, just the beginning of it when Daphne's up there and she's like, you know, and she's like going off. I almost sang. I stopped myself because I was like, I'm not a singer. And as it went, there was a lot of magical moments in creating that piece. Because, you know, even beyond the choreography team, we had different dancers from different cultures and different styles, and we just hired them. We didn't know what those moments were gonna be. And then the bomba dancers just start doing something. You're like, yeah, that's beautiful and it's authentic. And then the Colombian guys come through and you're like, oh my God, and everybody loses it because a lot of people have never seen it before. And it's funny because to them, they're like, what? This is like what we do. So it's a very gratifying moment when you just put a bunch of people in one room and you just let them do what they do. The element that's really gonna connect with this audience for this musical movie, through the dance at least, is it's really that there is, I feel like, even though it's like Washington Heights representing the Latin community, I feel like it's so human, and you know, everybody is gonna be able to connect to this movie, even though there's moments that are like larger than life and people are dancing on the side of a building. At the end of the day, it's a human feeling. It's you know, it reminds us of how similar we all really are. At the end of the day, we all just want to love. We all just want to laugh. We want to cry. We want to have dreams. You know, we reflect on our lives. You know, and we want to dance. And I think the world will feel that for sure.